let's talk about the UFC real quick. Well, Dana White, no, he's trying to start a boxing league in Saudi Boxing League. He's talked about being involved in boxing so many years and never really pulled the trigger.
He's been involved, man. That's the misconception, right? His first show came out in 2014 on Discovery. Okay. It was canceled after one episode. Right. It was a focus on boxing. He's been pushing this Irish kid for like 3 years.
Walsh.
Who's now calling Jake a pussy and Jake would never fight me. My man, you just went to Dublin in your hometown and sold 3,000 tickets with Dana pushing you. He's 12 fights in. He's selling 72,000. Like, it's not comparable.
Yeah, and I don't like anything Dana says about boxing because he's constantly attacking it and saying that it's not what it once was. Obviously, MMA fighters are going into the boxing ring to make more money, so obviously it must be doing well.
Also, MMA is not what it was. That's the truth of the matter. Boxing is bigger than ever. I agree. The biggest sporting event of the year in 2024 was boxing, whereas MMA is becoming a shittier version of boxing. Essentially, it's kickboxing because everyone is getting good takedown defense and everyone's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So there's no more submissions really. There's not a lot of takedowns, and even if there is, it's fucking boring, but everyone's good at takedown defense. So it's literally kickboxing. Guess who the biggest star of the sport is in MMA? Alex Pereira, who's a kickboxer because he's knocking everyone out, blah, blah, blah.
It's more entertaining.
And he's the best one because no one can take him down, no one can submit him, so he's just knocking everybody out. But the UFC has less significant strikes per round, and that's with 5-minute rounds. So boxing is going to stand the test of time because it has. It's been, since the 1500s. So 600 years of boxing. I don't think MMA, I'm not long MMA because it's becoming boxing.
So he won't succeed in the boxing world, Dana White, in both of your opinions.
I'm not saying that.
He's already failed, but
he's been in it. It's fine. He's doing UFC. He has a slap contest league that's going on. He's pushing skateboarding. He's pushing no, seriously, which is great. Like, he has platform. He's really an influencer at this point, right? No,
that's funny. That's funny though.
It's the truth, right? If you look at his platform and how he exercises his reach, and so he's going to try to influence a new boxing league, which is no problem.
I love your take against Dana White. I always sided with you. How do you and your brother are so close, right? when your brother was doing business with Dana and KSI, I don't think it's as bad as the Dana White back and forth with you and Dana. Dana gets disrespectful. You've been disrespectful. How does that work? Like, how can your brother work with this guy that you really don't like?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It is. I guess it's just business.
Just business.
At the end of the day. Yeah, but what I don't like is that my brother could technically do business with them, but still choose a side. But he doesn't do that, and that's what I don't like. He's like friendly to both.
Yeah.
But he could still Prime pays the UFC.
Right.
To be a sponsor. Logan could publicly back me, and the UFC can't do anything about that. Yeah, that's the part where.
Do you ever say something like, Logan, like, I don't like this dude. Like, do you ever have that type of conversation?
Not really, because I know he's not going to do anything to change it.
What about the KSI relationship with him?
Same thing.
Is it because he's a nice guy or something? Or?
He's just like wanting to play both sides. Yeah, I don't know.
He does great business.
See, I was right. I felt like Jake didn't really love that.
Oh yeah, so I was wrong. I was just saying.
Well, I'm just built different.
Busy.
Like right. That's the thing. At the end of the day, like if someone says anything about my brother, like, I'm ready to fight.
Right.
So it's like that's just the way I was. I'm different in that sense.
Right. So I didn't know that it was Dana that started the thing about your fights being fixed. But
steroids fixed.
I do realize
it kept building. Right?
I remember him saying that. I forgot that he started that.
After he knocked out Tyron Woodley, it came out that he was on steroids the next day.
It's always those kind of fighters that the public thinks that should beat you. That's the narrative. Like Tyson, literally everybody I speak to this day, they're like, "Oh, that fight was rigged, right?" And I'm like, "Come on, man! Millions of dollars were bet on that fight." Like, so does that ever discourage you? Like, no matter who you actually fight, that's going to be the narrative that you're paying them to lose.
Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, I look at it as a compliment because people can't even comprehend the things that I'm doing. And they have to chalk it up to something illegal, to drugs, to whatever it is. So I could look at the negative of it all, but when it's all said and done and I'm world champion and I beat the Canelos and all these things, people will look back and be like, oh, wow, this is fucking insane that this kid did it.
Beat Canelo.
Yeah.